Good afternoon, Panagdait. This is again Systems Analysis and Design, and this afternoon I made this video presentation for all of you, which will serve as our final task and also our final requirement for the Systems Analysis and Design course. As you can see on the screen, this presentation is about something what we call modeling. Modeling is an important part of software engineering. And essentially, systems analysis and design are components of software engineering, meaning part ang systems analysis and design sa software engineering. Kibali ang software engineering as a whole, whole process siya of developing a software project. You may also call it system or computer software or computer program. I have always been mentioning to all of you nga ang mga BSIT students are the ones who will continue what we call software engineering processes. Kasi naa sila part 2 sa systems analysis and design. Tapos naapagid sila capstone project wherein they will develop a system for a real client. So sa atua, sa Bliss program, basically narata sa part 1, and I have already discussed to you this, narata sa systems analysis and design. So particularly our final topic and final task will involve something what we call in software engineering or systems development, uh, which they call modeling. So kaning modeling, this is quite related to our previous lesson. Please recall that our previous lesson was about quote unquote systems development or software development. Now, kanang software development that involves processes, okay? Again, ang tawag nato ato is systems development life cycle. So kaning systems development of life cycle, part ni siya sa gitawag nato og software engineering. Okay, and modeling is an important component. It is an important part of software engineering. So the previous lesson, I introduced to you what we call business process modeling. And I also gave you an overview of what modeling is. So basically, ang modeling is, like I said, it's a vital component in software engineering because it provides us a picture, it provides us an overview of our system. Okay, so mura siya og comparable sa kanang mag-build og site or building. So ang architect mo develop ng architect og model. Ang tawag nato ana usually is blueprint. Okay? So katong blueprint that will provide a visual uh, component, no, mag-provide siya og picture unsay dagway, unsay hulagway, unsay structure sa i-build na site. Now, after the architect is able to produce a blueprint, the engineers will build it based on the produced blueprint. So in case of software engineering, mura ana pod ang mahitabo sa ato as students. So ang mga IT or kamo kay naaman mo ani naaman mo part 1 sa software engineering, which is what we call systems analysis and design. Kumbaga inyong i-model ang hulagway sa ato ang program, ang structure sa ato ang program. So ang difference lang actually sa, for example, civil engineers is ang ilahang end product is a structure, it's a site, no, it's a building. Ang ato is a software, pero practically, uh, if you notice, they are both engineering in a sense. Okay, so ang ato ang gimodel lang diri is ang software, dili ang building or ang establishment. So basically, this topic is a continuation to our previous topic. Okay, so what is modeling? Modeling is the process of representing a process or flow using symbols or shapes. Okay, so I'm quite sure you have already seen organizational chart. We usually see them when we visit various organizations. And for example, in our school, naatay organizational chart. It shows who the president is or who the CEO is. So usually na siya sa top. Di ba ang organizational chart, kaya nga gitawag siyang chart, we use models, we use charts, okay? Excuse me. We use visual representations of a flow or of a process because a picture paints 1,000 words. It's easier for human beings to recognize or to study something that has been represented using visual elements than pure text. So modeling is like that. Okay, sa pareho pud anang sa mga architect, ang blueprint or kanang bitang makita nato sa dalan kanang for example na ay soon to rise. Di ba gitagaan ta na og kumbaga visual representation unsay dagway pohon sa i-establish di ana or i-build di ana nga building or site. So it's easier when we have visual representations. Okay, so in software development, inana po ang case. Ato siyang i-model ang proseso. Okay, so kanang organizational chart, mura na siya og actually modeling. Atong gi-model kinsa ang president and then under ni si vice president and blah 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 etc. Up to the employees. Because it's easier, like I said, to study. It's easier to process information when it is visualized. Okay? So we use models or we perform modeling when we represent, okay, the keyword is represent, a process or flow using symbols or shapes. So last time, gipabuhat ta mo og non-standard nga modeling for a particular business process. And I hope you have already accomplished the task. So why do we use modeling? Models are preferred because they can be interpreted way better than its original form, which is most likely narrative. So ang bote pasabot, balik sa ato ang previous lesson, so mag-add to kas, for example, ang imong i-develop na software or ang i-develop na software sa atong mga IT students kay library management system. So usually, normally, they will go to libraries and then they will interview librarians, di ba? So when they interview librarians, usually they ask for the process on saon pag-borrow, on saon pag-return, what if na ay mga wala na return nga books, say pamaagi para magbutang og penalties sa mga dugay na return nga books. These are processes, right? So these are flows of processes. Kay naa siya steps pagabuhaton. So pangutanon to siya sa mga IT students kunuhay and then ang librarian will provide information. So what will happen is interview man to siya. So ang mga IT students ilahan nang i-jot down, ilahang isulat kumbaga. Karon ni-review nato ana kasi ang tawag nato ato di ba? From our previous lesson, ang tawag ato is requirements analysis or requirement specification or katong part 1 sa SDLC katubitang katong flow katong process unsay sinugdanan sa pag-perform og software development or project development. So atong buhaton ana niya karon is ato to siyang i-interpret katong mga information nga ato ang i-gather. Nga lisod kasi na siya kung i-interpret nato kung narrative lang. Ibig sabihin katong mga nakasulat lang. Okay, so in software development or in software engineering, okay, we usually convert that into models. So katong gibuhat ninyo last time nga task, actually model to siya, dili lang gyud siya standard. Okay? So mura po na siya og mga interior designer. So usually interior designers will talk to their clients and then they will study the personality of the clients. O say gusto sa client maitsura iyahang sala, iyang or living room, ang iyahang kwarto and etc. iyahang kitchen, no? So it's the job of the interior designer to study the information provided by the client and then interpret it with a design. So pagganahan na ang client ato nga design, then mo push through na ang project. So murag inani pud siya ang dating sa modeling. Now, please recall this is again requirements modeling, and this is basically the first step in software development phases. So, kanang software development phases mo, ano ni siya ang software engineering people. So, sa requirements analysis is mag-perform na siya og interview, data gathering, kasi ato ang pang subtone, ato ang istudihan ang situation sa client. Ang unsay gi-require nga client na system. So, if you are, for example, na IT students, kato nga, balik-balik na ako istorya, their client is a library, so usually they will go and interview the librarian and study the processes inside the library. Kay mga IT students man to sila, dili man sila mga students from the Bliss program. So most likely medyo wala kaayo sila or dili kaayo sila oriented unsa gyud mga processes within the library. So kanang requirements analysis, mao na siya ang first step, kumbaga, sa software development lifecycle or in software engineering. So what will happen is, kato nga requirements analysis or requirements gathering, ang ubang pong libro ang tawag ana requirements modeling, ang ubang pong libro ang tawag ana requirement specification, okay ra na siya, walay problema. So what will happen is, as you can see on your screen, mag-interview ang kato nga mga IT students. And then kato ilang gi-interview kay narrative man gud to siya sinulat, no? So na mga erasure blah blah blah. Sa software engineering i-convert yun nato na siya og picture or visual representation, or ang tawag nato ana is i-convert nato siya og model. Okay? So as you can see on the figure on the right side, that is an example of a model, and mao na siya most likely inyong gibuhat sa previous task. Kaya nga lang na-mention ako sa previous task from my previous post, ano ni siya, dili ni siya standardized. Okay? This afternoon, I will teach you something that is standardized. Or, when we standardized gani, ang mga software engineers, mao gito ilahang ginagamit. Dili kaning naa sa inyong screen karon. Okay, so as you can see, this is an example of a typical of a very basic model. No, it visualizes something what we call handling sales order. So verb man siya, handling sales order. So process siya. Kumbaga kung ato ani siyang i-interpret, ato ang gisabot unsaon pag-handle og sales order sa usa ka maybe tindahan. Okay, so from an interview, mao ni atong gi-interview kanang naa sa left side din. Katong mga details nga to ang nakuha, ato siyang gi-interpret into a visual representation. So iyang labas is kana siya. So naatay event and result. As you can see, ang event mo na sinugdanan sa process. So syempre, before ta na ay ma-handle nga sales order, dapat naatay madawat nga sales order. So after receiving sales order, naakunuhay tulo ka processes. Number one, check customer status. Number two, verify customer status. Number three, enter customer data. So as you can see, as you can observe, all of these processes begin with verbs kasi process man sila. Okay? And then ang final result niya is completed na ang sales order. So basically, this is the model that we, for example, interpret coming from the data that we got, the data that we gathered from our client. So mga example ni siya. Okay? And then, like I said, this is the software development lifecycle, and I have been mentioning you this in other references, in other book. Even if you go to Google and then images, ang SDLC or software development lifecycle, naiuban nga lahi-lahi sila og mga pangalan, lahi-lahi sila og content, no? Lahi-lahi og name sa ubang libro and etc. That is okay, that is fine. Ang uban gani ana is ang requirements analysis kay systems analysis na gyud na nakabutang diana. Walay problema ana, that is completely fine. Ang atong focus is ang meaning, ang ilahang purpose. Okay? Kay yeah, daghan gyud na siya og kanang variations, no? And okay ra na siya. Okay? So this afternoon actually, no, kay kada ba ingon mako dili na siya quote unquote standard. Dili gid ni siya ang ginagamit gyud in reality sa mga software engineers. So basically, ang gigamit nga model, actually daghang models, no? Daghang models ang gigamit ang software engineers. Isa sa pinaka-basic, isa sa pinaka-importante nga models nga ginagamit usually ni software engineers is kani siya. Naatay gitawag nga UML. Okay? Kanang UML, no, because it's already final and actually dako ni siya nga topic, pero this is I want you to and I need you to understand it this way. UML is well, first things first, it means unified modeling language. Kanang unified modeling language, mura na siya og set of models or set of diagrams. Usbo na ko, mura siya og set of models or set of diagrams. It's a collection of models. It is a collection of diagrams. Buti pasabot, UML is what software engineers use when creating models. Daghan og models under sa UML. In other words, kaning UML, mga models ni sila, mga diagram ni sila. And mo gani siya ang ginagamit sa ato ang IT students sa ilahang software engineering nga subject. Okay? Dili kani. Dili kana. Pero again, I've mentioned this from the previous discussion, okay na pug kana imong gamiton kung kamukha mo lang. Oo. Pero in reality gyud formally, pag formal gyud ng software engineering, dili gyud to siya kun dili UML. Okay? So again, UML is a collection. Mga models ni sila, mga diagram. Mo gyud siya ang ginagamit sa usa ka software engineers in developing systems.